One of the first things I really want to talk to you about is what I do day to day. And that is as varied as what I said in the first video. And so, what I do day to day is I batch my work. I am a small business owner, I'm a life, business, and self discovery coach. And so, I'm always finding out new ways to hack my own mind. Now, what does that look like? That looks like time crunching, time batching. Now, I used to be a design and construction project manager for a Fortune 500 company running projects of over $50 million a year. And that was like 27 to 42 projects a year. Not normal human beings do that, guys. That was over 100-hour work weeks, and it sucked. I had no life outside of work. I worked from basically 7:30 in the morning until about 9 o'clock at night, and Saturdays and sometimes Sundays. And I traveled. But that's okay. I loved it until I stopped loving it. And then I changed my life. And that is what kind of being a self-starter is all about. If you look up the dictionary, what self-starter is, we make our own time. We do our own things. We manifest our own destiny. So back to the initial start of the post, start of the video. What do we do on a day-to-day basis when we have our own small business, we're a coach, and how does that look like in my life? Well, I can't speak for anyone. I can only speak for myself. And that's been true my entire life. So I batch my time and I block out chunks of time. You might have heard of the Pomodoro Method, and that's where you work for 45 minutes, take a little break, and then set a timer, work for another 45 minutes, take a break. I am not that disciplined. I tend to work until I get interrupted. And that's how I did it when I was in the corporate world as well. But I set out like Mondays, I set a certain amount of time. In my planner, I still use a paper planner. I set out a certain amount of time to get certain tasks done. And usually it will be finishing up what I didn't do on Sunday night to batch out the rest of my week. And then I will set aside a little time to meditate. I'll set aside some time for lunch. I always batch out my lunch hour because taking breaks is just as important as working. And that's what I discovered when I was working those 100-hour weeks. So then on Tuesdays, I know is a highly productive day of the week for most people. It is usually the most productive day of the week, so I try to batch my content. As a businesswoman in business for myself, I know that I need to do my own marketing. So I'll work on graphics, I'll work on copy, I'll work on putting those two together and getting them ready to push out. Now I can schedule them on different platforms. I might be able to schedule them on Facebook or put them like in an organized fashion for like LinkedIn or Instagram, and just be ready to repurpose or make a few tweaks here and there and just make an adjustment to either formatting or copy, making it more relevant to the social media platforms. And then on Wednesdays, I teach. So I make sure that my lesson plan is in order if I haven't already gotten it laid out. So I flesh it out. I do a lot of creative work. And again, using those micro bursts of work, it's kind of like a cheetah. We go after our prey and then we rest for a few moments. So once I've achieved and accomplished something, it's amazing. I can take a little break. I've got to be honest here. I do take little naps. As a time freedom is so important to me. I took back my life. You're going to find out a lot more about me as time goes on, but I have to take my little breaks, whether that's 15 minutes or 25 minutes. Some days, if I've been up working really late until like 11 o'clock at night, it might look like, and I'm staying up until 2 a.m., it might look like a 45-minute nap, and that's a huge self-indulgence. But I usually take a nap and batch that in at least 3 days a week, if not 4. And now, mind you, I'm working at least 6 days a week, if not 7. So I still work a lot of hours a week, but I manage my time and I make it fun. And I reward myself. I have a cup of hot tea almost every night, and a glass of wine every Friday night. So I hope that makes sense. I also have a creative projects. Like I have creative projects that I enjoy doing. So I reward myself on Fridays by keeping my schedule clear. Now, some people might call them tidy Fridays, where they like tie up the loose ends and they get everything ready. Like when I was in the corporate world, I would make sure everything was at a right angle on my desk, clean and neat, and my files were done by the time I went home at 7 o'clock at night. At home, I work from home. So I keep my entire day free to myself so that I'm able to completely have that time for my creativity to flow. I still batch out lunch 12 to 1, but I'm able to work in the morning on a certain creative project, take a break, have an appointment if I need to with a client, and then because inevitably they crop up, somebody needs something, and then the afternoon is free to continue writing. I hope this makes sense, and I hope it's helpful. So keep going. You got this.